Dr. Elliot Durbin, please. Yes, and tell him that this is an emergency. Simon, ouvrez la porte, s'il vous plaît. Excuse me? What do you mean he's given up his office? Simon! Well, did he leave a forwarding address, a telephone number, a smoke signal, some way that he can be reached? Simon! No, I am not one of his patients. Why? Do I sound like I'm crazy? I beg your pardon. Simon! Oh. Never mind. Oubliez the door. I will get it. Oh, Blair. Oh, thank goodness you're here.
Well, I got over here as quickly as I could. You sounded very upset on the phone.
I was, and I am. Cassie is threatening to never let me see her or Little River again.
Well, why would she do something like that?
Because she thinks that somehow I am responsible for the showdown between Kevin and Vicky last night at the Waterside Inn.
Oh, Kevin and Vicky had another big argument, huh?
No, a real showdown, complete with loaded pistol.
Wait a minute, I didn't hear anything about that. That's awful.
Well, it's not so awful because nobody got hurt. Well, that is nobody but me. Because right to my face, Cassie accused me of having something to do with it.
Oh, she did.
She did.
Did you?
Vicky, just heard from Dr. Milstein from the airport. He'll be here soon. Look, he wrote the book on hypnotherapy, Vicky. Probably Durbin read it.
But that may not be enough, Larry. Bo called me earlier this morning. Apparently, Elliot has disappeared. And along with him went all the words and the images that he so cleverly implanted in my mind to get me to kill my son. So you tell me, how is this doctor going to undo the damage when he doesn't even know what he's looking at?
Well, I talked to him on the phone. He seemed very confident. Now, I think it might be a good idea before he gets here that you just take on a more positive attitude and stay calm.
There you are. So is it true? I heard Annie Oltl got into a little bit of trouble.
Thanks for that last tip. Tonio, you were right. Carlo took some time from his busy schedule to plan for a little vengeance against Vicky.
And was Durbin involved?
Right up to his shrunken head. Carlo had Durbin hypnotize Vicky and then tell her to kill Kevin.
Well, that was coming. The banner's been ruining Carlo's breakfast for weeks. Were you at least able to stop her?
Didn't have to. She stopped herself. It sort of renews your faith in human nature, doesn't it?
No. I'll have faith when someone turns in Carlo. Are you picking up Durbin? Because if Carlo put the squeeze on him, then he could put the finger on Carlo if Carlo doesn't get to him first.
That's what we figure.
Yeah. This could be it. I'm counting the days till I can tell everybody that I haven't been working for Carlo and I've been working for you, trying to bring that man down.
Sorry, but you're gonna have to keep counting, Antonio. Durbin disappeared.
What?
Durbin disappeared. Without Durbin, we have no case.
No. Sorry. No. No more of this. If you can't take Carlo Hester down, then I will.
Just make sure I have no connection to the doctor's unfortunate circumstances. Neatness counts.
Carlo, you haven't touched your breakfast. That's a shame. The condemned man should always have a big meal. Look, if you don't think I'll use this in here, you are mistaken. Last night my mother couldn't pull the trigger, but trust me, I can.
odd. Well, what are you doing here?
Well, Blair's planning a little charity event for my favorite cause, sick little kids. And I need some photogenic tykes to pull on everybody's heartstrings so that they'll give me their money. So, are there any sickly youngsters you could point me to, Doctor?
I heard about this earlier. I'll look around.
You do that. So anyway, I'm here, and I'm waiting, and I heard what happened. You know, your little it's a big hit with the nurse's station.
Oh, boy, you have a nose for news.
Now, it's a family curse. Your therapist has an interesting technique. Trying to get the patient to blow her kid's brains out.
Shut up.
Oh, come on. This is
Larry, it's all right. Believe it or not, he's here because he's worried about me. And I appreciate that.
All right, I'll check on a couple of patients. I'll be back as soon as Milstein gets here.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do have a lot of seriously needy children in this hospital.
Great. Look, any of them foreign? Because that would really be the best, you know? If we could get them foreign and then I could take their picture. But, you know, I am going to need to be able to pronounce their names.
You're going to exploit sick kids for a party.
No, I'm not going to exploit. I'm going to exploit the rich people to get their money to give to the sick kids. You know, I guess I don't have a sixth sense for news. Here's a great story right under my nose, and I didn't even see it. Off the record, Vicky, why would your shrink get you to try and kill Kevin?
I think Carlo forced him to do it.
Why? What, because of the articles in the Banner? Oh, now I am insulted. The Sun was 10 times nastier to him than the Banner, and he never tried to hypnotize me.
You didn't kill Carlo's son.
Look, don't turn cowboy on me, Antonio. You are the eyes and the ears of this operation, all right? You let the police department be the fists.
Yeah, well, so far this operation is standing around with its hands in its pockets. Meantime, my mother and my brother are sitting back thinking I'm working for the devil himself.
But you are. That's the whole point of this, isn't it? You want to hurt Carlo Hesser? This is the way we do it.
Fine. But I'm letting the people that matter to me know what I'm doing.
There's nothing that they can do with that information other than let it slip out somewhere along the line and then screw this whole thing up. We are operating on a need-to-know basis.
Yeah, well, my family needs to know. My father spent a lifetime trying to keep the streets out of my home. I need them to know that I am not spitting on his grave.
All right, go on. Get it out. Come on, let it out. Where's all this coming from right now?
I saw my mother last night. You know, the one thing we wouldn't talk about was the only thing we were thinking about. And that's my job with Carlo Hesser. It's killing her, Bo. And it's killing me.
You knew what it was going to be like when you volunteered to work undercover.
Yeah, well, I had no idea I was going to have to do it for this long. Carlo's shrink was my return ticket to the world, and the Lambview PD blew it again. So that's it. I'm going to take care of things myself from now on.
How are you going to do that? You're going to go after Carlo with a gun?
If that's what I got to do to get my life back, done. But I don't think I'll have to. You see, Carlo's losing friends fast. Sooner or later, he's gonna have to open up to me.
You sure you're reading Carlo Hesser, right? You know, he's had his nose rubbed in a whole heap of humiliation lately. And a guy like Carlo, that makes him even more paranoid, not less.
I'll handle it.
Will you just make sure you handle it by my rules? All right, look, don't touch. You got that?
Yeah.
All right. I'm still gonna try to link Carlo to this gunplay at the Waterside Inn. So I'm gonna go talk to Dorian. She was there. She's gotta know more than she's saying.
It sounds like we both know what we gotta do, Commissioner.
Last night you put me on your side of the gun. Well, I'll tell you what, I like it here a lot better. I have been dying to put a bullet right between your eyes, but I understand that the stomach hurts a lot more. Is that right, Carlo? Am I boring you?
Yes.
You know what? The way your pathetic life's been going, I don't think there's anything worse I could do for you than just let you live.
What has gotten into you, little man?
What has gotten into you? First you let a police commissioner and an Irish poet stop your attempt to bomb the palace.
I had nothing
Then you
to
let
do
a
with
nun and a measly saloon keeper walk out of your Carolina
this is
Dutch
absolutely
opera.
ridiculous.
Yeah, last night you can't even take down my mother.
Waiter, could I have my check, please?
And now, Carlo, you have me and the banner telling everybody that spooky, scary Carlo Hesser is nothing more than a tattered bedsheet with a couple of holes and a rotten stench. You're a loser, pal. And I hope that you and your blushing new bride are very happy together in jail.
Kevin?
So Johnny D was trying to kidnap Tina, and her life was in danger, so well, not really me, Nicky, shot him.
Well, did the judge give Nicky a medal?
No, the court decided I was acting in my sister's defense.
But Carlo doesn't see it like that.
Hardly. After all these years, the hatred behind his eyes is still unmistakable.
And so he sent you Elliot Durbin, the Trojan psychiatrist.
And I opened the door wide. Did I ever let him in? Nice warm smile and some soothing psychopath when I was his. To be that naive, I am equally as responsible for what happened as Carlo is.
Whoa, 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 don't even say that. Especially not around here. What if Bo Buchanan heard you and agreed with you? You'd be facing attempted murder. And this time it might just stick.
And why is it that I'm held responsible every time there is some misadventure in Vicky's life? I mean, just because our paths happen to cross.
Well, you were at the Waterside Inn when Vicky almost shot Kevin.
Blair, this is Landview. How many places are there to be?
Yeah. And of all the patrons at the Waterside, why do you think that Cassie singled you out? I mean, do you have any idea why she would do that?
I do. I think that she was just a little bit confused by the fact that I happened to be at the room at that particular time, but I was only there to protect Cassie.
Protect her from what?
Well, that's a long story.
Yeah, I'm beginning to get that idea. So what?
So, the other day, I was in the park.
And you ran into Kevin and Cassie and they...
Is this my story or is it yours? Thank you. I was in the park, and I happened to see Elliot Durbin, Vicky's psychiatrist, in the company of Carlo Hesser. Oh, that got your attention, didn't it?
Okay, go on.
Well, later, when I asked Elliot about it, he admitted that he did know Carlo. And he told me that Carlo was absolutely furious about these exposés that Kevin and Cassie had been writing in the Banner. Yeah. Yes, so I tried to warn Cassie, but did she listen to me? Oh, no. Does she ever listen to me? No. Look at who she married.
Oh, come on, Dorian, what happened next?
Well, yesterday, I ran into Elliot yet again. And this time he was more than just a little drunk and ranting and raving about how he had put Vicky's brains through the rinse cycle. And now she was headed to the Waterside Inn with an urge to kill Kevin.
Oh, my God.
I know. So I dashed to the Waterside Inn, where I saw Cassie headed for the rooms. Well, one thing led to another. I grabbed the gun.
Where a gun? You were packing a gun, Dorian?
Oh, I wish I had been. No, this was the gun I found in the room, which I dropped in all the confusion. And the next thing I know, I'm out on the patio, I'm looking in the room, I see Vicky pointing that very gun at Kevin and at Cassie. So I dash into the room, grab Cassie, pull her out onto the patio, and leave Kevin and Vicky alone to have a mother-son gun chat. Whereupon, Bo bursts into the room just in time to treat me like the prime suspect.
I don't get it.
Well, neither did I. I mean, I was only there trying to protect my daughter.
No. What I don't get is why would Vicky's therapist do something like this?
Oh. Bo thinks it's because Elliot is working for Carlo Hesser.
Yes. When we were trying to scramble to get our own expose, my research team brought articles when Vicky killed Carlo's son, Johnny D. Elliot Durbin may have been Carlo's revenge. And Dorian, and you can give me an exclusive. I mean, You can give me a front page exclusive on this. I mean, after you tell Bo everything, that is. Stop, please.
Miss Carpenter, you should alert your colleague to the danger of brandishing firearms in public. He could be getting himself killed.
You mean with this? Still playing with toy cap guns, Carlo? You know, when I was a kid, I always wondered what it would be like to take a real bad guy down with one of these, and feels pretty good. Well, I thought that went pretty well, don't you?
Kevin, it's the second time in 2 days I had to stand by and wait for you to die.
It's a toy gun. You know, it's not real.
Well, it fooled Carlo and it fooled me. Now, come on, I care about your life more than you do, and it's... Just don't do it again, okay? Just don't.
Guess it's back to the toy chest for this thing, huh?
Grow up, Kevin, please.
After what Carlo did to me, I've aged about 100 years. Trust me.
So what Bo said was right. Carlo was involved with the waterside incident.
Carlo was the waterside incident. Why would Elliot Durbin hypnotize my mother and plant a murderous suggestion in there?
God, Kevin, how is she?
Larry brought in this new hypnotherapist. He's going to try and, I don't know, redo Elliot's handiwork. But whether that works or not, I am going after Hesse.
Kevin!
In print, Cassie, in print. When the Banner and I are through with him, he's going to wish I did have a real gun today and that I used it.
Well, good luck, good luck.
Good luck. Why, you think I'm doing this alone? No. It's 50-50, just like it's always been. I write the articles, you tell me how great they are.
Now, as tempting as that sounds, you have to remember I am not on the Banner staff. I am a freelancer, remember?
Do you really think my dad's going to let you get away? We just got the circulation figures for the week that you ran that expose on Alex and her inventive use of city funds.
How were they?
Dad was humming. Can you picture it? Clint humming?
I am impressed.
Yeah, well, that's nothing, because somewhere out there, there's a story about Carlo Hesse that's going to have my dad bursting into song, and I ain't know where to start.
Where?
With a woman called Dorian Kramer Lord Callison Vickers. You call her Mom.
I've got nothing to hide from Bo because I've really got nothing to tell him.
Well, did you tell him that Elliot thought Carlo was after Kevin?
Well, I think he pretty much figured that out for himself.
Okay, well, what about the gun on the patio? Did you tell him that?
Mere trivia.
Dorian, I don't think it'll be very trivial when Bo finds your pretty little fingerprints all over that nice little gun.
He won't.
How do you know that?
Because I wore the pretty little French kid gloves that you gave me for my birthday.
You're afraid, aren't you? That Bo is going to link you to this case.
Yes, I'm afraid. But not of Bo.
Carlo Hesse.
Yes. The man had your husband shot. He kidnapped your baby. Who knows what else he's willing to do? Especially if he thinks that I'm going to go to the police with this information that Elliot gave me, the information I just told you. Come to think of it, honey, you better not print this. You better keep this entirely to yourself. Sima. No, no. I will not go there. I will go to the door. Why, Bo, come on in.
Good morning, Dorian.
Good morning. So, are you here as the police commissioner or as an old friend?
It's business. I have a few questions for you, Dorian, and I'll bet you've got a few answers for me.
Well, maybe jail is exactly what I deserve.
No, you wouldn't like it. There's no maid service. The food is lousy. And I don't think you could deal with all those women wearing the same dress. Look, it's not as if the idea to kill your kid just popped into your head. I mean, you have an excuse.
I always have an excuse. Don't you think it's time maybe to lose the excuses and just look at the deeds?
Well, Vicky, if you don't want your excuses given to me, I would love to be able to hang all my rage on some wandering hypnotist.
Todd, I didn't need Elliot to introduce me to my anger. My Olters may have been in control, but it was my rage that killed Johnny D. and my rage that killed our father. So maybe it is just time for me to admit that I will never escape this violence that obviously lives inside me.
Well, where does that leave me?
You? Who cares? This isn't about you.
I care about me. Look, if you want to compare criminal histories, it's no contest. I could kill a guy just by dropping my police record on his head. Look, you were the one that told me that I should forget about my past. And now you're telling me that you can't escape the violence? And I was just starting to believe you. Look, when I first came to town, I didn't even want to touch my child. I was so scared that I was going to hurt her the way I hurt everybody else. And you told me that I was wrong. And I was wrong. And now, you know, I look at this child, tiny, perfect, and she laughs. And I'm not scared anymore. Because I know that she's not scared of me. I could never hurt this child. And you couldn't either, Vicky. The legacy of abuse, it stops with us.
Oh, excuse me, Vicky. Dr. Milstein's here. Are you ready?
Time after time, just as plans seem about to come together, they fall apart. Last night, I had victory in my grasp. This morning, it slipped right through my fingers.
Bad luck happens.
And sometimes it's helped along. I'm convinced of that. There is a leak somewhere in my organization. What do you think of that, Antonia?
Look, Cassie, I don't want to make your mother out to be the heavy, but there's no avoiding it. It's just too much of a coincidence that she was out on the patio at the same time my mother was inside holding a gun on me. I'd just like to ask her a few questions.
Oh, that won't be necessary, Kevin. I've already asked her a few.
And her answer?
Held together so perfectly, had to have been a lie. In fact, I caught her pulling a Pinocchio on Bo, too. She said that she hardly knew Elliot Durbin, and yet I met Elliot as he was leaving her home. Smelling quite at home, too. Bourbon, I think.
When was this?
The day of...
The day of the incident?
Yes. And then she went out of her way to ask me to stay late at the community center. All night. Like she was...
Like she was protecting you from something. Something maybe Elliot told her was going to happen?
Yes. No, Kevin. The day before, my mother tried to get me to leave town. She wanted me to pack up River and Andrew and fly off to Massachusetts.
Wait, so your mother... She knew a day before that this was going to happen? How much did she know?
Everything. She knew everything, Kevin. Right here. She practically tackled your mother when she saw her pulling something out of her purse.
A gun. She must have thought it was a gun. The only problem was your mom was a day early. Durbin must have told her just enough to, rattle her really good, and then the next day, he probably filled her in on the details, such as the fact that it was going to happen that evening.
Why?
I don't know why. Who cares why? He was probably scared of the cops. Or maybe a bourbon's worth of guilt. That guy had to be riddled with guilt. So your mother followed you to the water side?
No, Kevin. I know she didn't. She was there before I got there. Elliot must have told her everything. The place, the time, the weapon of choice. My God, Kevin, how can you even look at me?
Never really had that problem before, I guess.
Kevin, don't you realize what this means? My mother had detailed knowledge of a crime hours before it happened. A crime that would have cost you your life and your mother her soul, and she did nothing.
She didn't do nothing, Cassie. She looked out for you. That's what a mother should do. And I certainly am not going to fault her for that. But I do think this calls for a couple of follow-up questions, don't you?
Yes.
Good. No time like the present.
I think I should ask her the questions. I mean, she is my mother, after all. Every line inch of her.
Blair and I were just having a business meeting, but I would be more than happy to be of any help that I can. Fine. Though I don't know what I have left to tell you, Bo, because you were so thorough last night.
I was hoping maybe your memory would be refreshed since we last spoke at the Waterside Inn.
Ah, so you're fishing, eh? Tell me, are you giving Vicky this same third degree? Because let's remember that she's the one who gave you her favorite rendition of Pistol Packing Mama. Her own son would be dead now, and my daughter, if I hadn't happened along.
I think you're laying it on just a little bit thick now, aren't you, Dorian? We've confirmed that Vicky's therapist, Dr. Elliot Durbin, hypnotized her, and then he told her to murder her son. And Blair, there's a news blackout on this.
Okay. Bo, thank you for asking. I'm sure Todd will go along with that for now.
And did Elliot tell you anything else? Like why he wanted Vicky to kill Kevin?
Elliot Durbin didn't tell us a damn thing because Elliot Durbin disappeared.
He did?
Mm-hmm. Like he walked right off the end of the earth.
How distressing that must be for you. And, oh, how dreadful for Vicky. I mean, how could she possibly walk around the streets of Landview now that she's been programmed to kill by this deranged psychiatrist? Of course, they do have all sorts of wonderful things these days, don't they? I mean, no more the crudeness of a straitjacket. These days, it's all designer drugs and laser surgery.
Well, I think we'll leave it to the district attorney to decide what happens to Vicky. Of course, that'll be after he figures out what he's gonna do with you.
Dorian?
Yeah. You, Dorian. Because with Elliot Durbin out of the picture, what you know could be very, very important to all of this, and you really do know something, don't you, Dorian? You know, I'm about ready to start thinking that you're an accessory. Unless, of course, you're ready to answer that simple little question for me. Come on. What were you really doing at the Waterside Inn last night?
You're right. There's a leak. But not just from anybody in their organization, but from somebody high up.
You seem extremely confident about that.
So are you. Because it makes sense. It's the only thing that does. Think about it. I mean, who are we up against here? The FBI? Interpol? It's Bo Buchanan.
Oh.
He's a rich boy playing policeman. Now, is Bo Buchanan any match for Carlo Hessel?
Not on his best day.
Well, but for some reason, every single time one of your plans unravels, Bo Buchanan is there jerking the string. Well, there's got to be somebody telling him where to pull.
Do you have any nominees?
That therapist you were talking to the other day, what's his name? Dr. Durbin?
Yes.
Well, I know his type real well. All style and smile, but not an ounce of guts. You put a little pressure on him, and he's gonna fold like a jackknife.
Dr. Durbin is gone.
Where?
Who knows?
And what about the people he talked to before he left?
No, he was a loner. He had a few wealthy
Dorian
patients
Lord?
that he dealt.
I saw him with her a few times.
No, he assured me that was just a flirtation.
He assured you? How much do you trust him? I mean, how much did you allow him to know?
I told him what he needed to know. And
Carlo, you hired him to do a job, right? I mean, to do something that nobody else could handle. So he had to have known plenty. Maybe he told Dorian Lord. Look, whether he did or whether he didn't, I could find that out for you. But Carlo, I need to know what I'm looking for. Let me help you.
Help? That's an offer I don't often hear and don't trust when I do.
I understand. Forget I ever said anything.
You are a creature of extremes, Antonio. Every man needs someone to confide in, even me. I can't trust Alex anymore, and I never did quite trust RJ. He clearly had his own agenda. But if I did trust you, would you understand what I would be revealing? Above all, my drive for revenge. And what sometimes drives me to do the things I do.
Are you kidding? I spent 6 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit. If I didn't understand revenge when I went in, I certainly understood it when I came out.
And, what are your feelings about revenge now, my friend?
Revenge?
Yes.
It's just a nasty word for justice.
Your eagerness, is it... For months, you didn't want to know anything about how my operation worked. And now you want to know it all. Something's changed, what?
Allow me. A lot. When I first came to you, I made it clear that you weren't my friend. This was just a job. A job I was taking because I had no choice.
Thank you. And I respected that, as I respect you, Antonio.
I know. But you see, I had a little reserve. I still felt I owed Bo Buchanan something for getting me out of Statesville.
Huh.
Up until the other day, when he showed up at your wedding, you saw how he talked to me. I don't know that man anything. Maybe I never did. It's not like he got me out of Statesville without any strings attached. No, I had to put my life on the line to break up Manzo's gun-running ring.
Yes. While Bo took all the boughs from the banner. That's old news. I sense something else. You've changed.
I was at my mom's the other night. Chris was there. Carlo, I haven't seen Chris this happy in my entire life. He's doing good in his classes. If he's not in class, he's in that studio you got for him, painting and sculpting and doing whatever he does. The security guard's got to come knock on the door.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Your brother is a very gifted young man, and nothing would give me greater pleasure than to see him reap the success he so justly deserves.
And he does deserve it. As do I. Look, I gotta admit, I mean, since I went to work for you, life has never been better. For me, for my family. You know, I never expected to find the future here working for you. It's kind of funny how life works, huh? I mean, one minute you're looking one direction, the next thing life sneaks up on you from another. It's you that I owe, Carlo. Nobody else. Let me pay you back. I want in. All the way.
I've already told you what I was doing at the Waterside Inn, Bo. I was meeting a friend for drinks.
Who?
What difference does that make?
Maybe it does make a difference. Maybe it doesn't make it a difference. Maybe it's somebody who could corroborate your story. Or maybe they would tell us something very interesting that would make me stop wondering why it is that you avoid the original question. Who were you meeting? Well?
Well, it was me.
You.
Yeah, me. We had an appointment to meet and talk about the hirings and firings at Melodor, you know. Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you tell me that before?
Oh, Bo, because there's nothing to talk about. I never made it to the Waterside Inn. But Well, that's why I'm here this morning, you know, to make it up to Dorian for leaving her there all alone. And I'm sorry that we can't really give any more information, but I guess it was just one of those kind of nights, you know, Bo.
What the hell are you doing here?
I'm just here to get on your nerves, Kevin.
Todd, there's no news here. They already took out the garbage.
Yeah, well, at the Sun, if there isn't any news, we just make some up. Planning a gala bash to benefit some really, really sick kids.
What kids?
I have no idea, but Larry and his hospital buddies, they're compiling a list now of the pathetic youngsters.
You know, Todd, you get me right here. To letting you around children now?
Yeah, just as long as I've eaten first. You're invited. Gotta buy a ticket, though, to help the kids.
You know, I guess there's no story too sad or too terrible for you to exploit, is there?
No. But you wouldn't know about that at the Banner, which is why nobody actually reads your newspaper.
You see, Todd, I'm worried that you're here to exploit another story, one that's a little closer to home.
Such as?
Such as my mom. Your half-sister. Now, that one's right up your alley.
What if I was here for that, Kevin?
Mom? How'd it go?
Oh, Kevin, honey.
I guess this means everything's okay? You're deheserized? Back?
Oh, God, I hope you never have to be afraid of me ever again.
Mom, I never was. Really, I never was.
Well, congratulations, ladies. It's about as well put together an alibi as I've ever heard, and believe me, I've heard some of the best. So I guess that answers my question, doesn't it? For now. But this is an open investigation, so I'm going to be back to ask you more questions. Both of you. Especially if Dr. Durbin turns up.
Well, I'm sure you'll find him before I find Simone. I'm sorry she's not here to show you the door. Will I do in her place?
Well, that's okay, Dorian. I think I can find it from here. Thank you.
No, thank you, Bo. Goodbye. I knew I could count on you. Bless you. We Kramer women always
Look,
stick
Dorian,
together.
I am not happy about what I just did. I just lied to a man who wants to make Carlo pay for everything that he's done to me and to Todd.
But you had no choice.
Well, do you think that was easy for me? Look, I want to stop Carlo as much as Bo does, but not at the price of my family.
Well, honey, I don't think you have to worry about that now.
Oh, I don't have to worry about it. I am going to worry about that. And you should, too. Carlo has a way of finding out who his enemies are, and if you want to know how he treats them, you just ask my husband. Friend, please, you have to be very careful. Very, very careful. I've got a bad feeling about this. And it's not over. And until it is, God only knows what can happen next.
And hold on a moment. Antonio, would you please forgive me? I look forward to our continuing our conversation, but something has come up which needs my immediate attention. Please, call the Parks Commissioner and see if they've accepted my proposal.
Consider it done.
Good, thank you. All right, how did it happen? No, I was guaranteed that book would never see the light of day. No, excuses are not acceptable. I want that book back. Whatever you have to do, or wherever you have to do it to, understood?